Hey everybody, we're going to review this great album and also enjoy looking at the old original vinyl of Chicago 4, 1971. It was a Live at Carnegie Hall album, and it encompassed a lot of their best material from their first three albums, Chicago 1, which is Chicago Transit Authority, Chicago 2, and Chicago 3. So if you like early Chicago, this is a great album. You got this, look at this. This is almost like a book cover. And all the vinyl and this book came in there. Then you got a great book with it. Look at that. And the book had a bunch of awesome pictures. We'll look at those in a minute. Then you also got 4 individually sleeved vinyl albums. So you got 8 sides of vinyl music. No one had ever heard of CDs, much less streaming back then, or even cassettes, I don't think. So there was some reel-to-reel around at that time. So I don't know if there were cassettes, but anyway, this was a great album, and it was definitely a vinyl album. And just look at all this stuff you got with vinyl. As a matter of fact, I guess some members of the band didn't like it because they thought there was so much stuff on it that, things got buried. Sometimes if you release too much stuff, everything gets kind of lost in the size of the release. But it's a great album. Over here, you open this book, you got the members of the band. Let's just Terry Kath, Peter Cetera, R.I.P. Terry Kath. I remember when he died. Seemed kind of murky to me, but I never. But anyway, terrible. Peter Cetera, bass, and what a great singer. Robert Lamm, Lee Loughnane. Robert Lamm, Saturday in the Park. Gosh, one of the great songs of the whole decade of the 70s. Lee Loughnane, trumpet. And Walter Perizzidier, hope I'm saying that right, woodwinds. So not only saxophones, any other instrument with the reed, but also sometimes flute, like on Color My World. James Pankow, trombone. Danny Seraphine, drums. Such a really good album. And you got this book with some really nice photography. There's the band. Okay, that's Terry Kath. Get that. Big old male physical specimen of the early 1970s. Looked like he could have been playing football. Sometimes I look at men today and I don't think they're as big and strong and masculine looking. I don't know. They always say our testosterone's dropping. Sometimes I look at these guys in the 70s. They all look like they're definitely. There's Peter Cetera. Great. You know what, though? I love his voice so much, and I love his singing and his bass playing. The stuff that was more Peter Cetera focused after the death of Terry Kath, like If You Leave Me Now or The Glory of Love, and they're very nice, but I kind of miss the old album-oriented rock horn section, rock and roll of the earlier Chicago. But I guess times were changing. I'm not blaming that on Peter Cetera, but I definitely have a preference for earlier Chicago, all the way up through Chicago 8. Old Days, Harry Truman, that was a great album. Chicago 7 is a great album with I've Been Searching So Long, Happy Man. Look at there's Robert Lamm. And ladies and gentlemen, he's playing an acoustic grand piano. Got a microphone there. And, they said this album didn't sound that good, but sometimes when you mic stuff, it sounds different. But sometimes it'll sound kind of airy, and but also sounds more like a piano. So this is a good album. There you go. That's old school miking of a piano. Look at all the wires all over. I remember I used to have a Three Dog Night album. I still do, and there were just wires all over the floor. Looked like a bunch of college kids set up the stage, just wires. Look at there's Lee Loughnane. Is that right? There's the band lineup. Man, I used to know some horn players in high school. I mean, really good, like for high school, and they used to love Chicago. And I think that was a period where you'd still see some horns around in music, maybe more than today. Of course, today, a lot of people use keyboards for horns, so they have some keyboard that does horns, and of course I don't think it's the same. Okay, there's Walter Perizzidier, and he plays the flute. You know, and the flute was really nice. Peter Gabriel played the flute for Genesis sometimes, and of course Ian Anderson for Jethro Tull. So it wasn't all that rare an instrument, despite what you might think in rock and roll in the '70s. Very beautiful. Firefall had a nice flute featured on "You Are the Woman That I've Always Dreamed Of." I like some Firefall songs better. I saw Firefall once. There's James Pankow. Trombone. Who's the most famous trombone player in 2023 under the age of 40? I can't think of one off the top of my head. That's great. He's playing it like it was meant to be played. What a great. There's Danny Seraphine, the drummer. Great drummer. Man, they had some of the great songs of the 70s and a great rhythm section. And there they are. There's, I guess that would be Perizzidier. Am I saying his name right? Correct me if I'm wrong. And James Pankow. I missed the 70s. So here you got the lyrics. Now let's just kind of look at these vinyl records and go through the tracks a little bit. Won't go on too long there. So there you got these individually wrapped vinyl records. So inside you had the album. There it is. So, you know, it's kind of funny. Okay, in the side one, in the country, fancy colors. Does anybody really know what time it is? There we go. With that super, super good piano and horn intro. Just awesome. And that's album-oriented rock, where you had some pretty extended, serious compositions, you know, almost like you would have seen in a really good jazz band or a big band or something. Does anybody really know what time it is? There's the song itself. Side 2, South California Purples, and then Question 67, 68. That's a great song. Can this feeling that we had together. All right, this is the second album with side 3 and 4 on it. Oh, we got Sing a New Tune, Kid. And then Beginnings. That's such a great song. Great, great song. One of the great 70s love songs, I would say. And it's also one you can play on acoustic guitar. You know, I've been in a lot of acoustic duos. And that was a good Chicago song that we could pull off with just 2 acoustic guitars. Sounded really good. Then on side 3, now this is album-oriented rock, where that's you know, that's not a single, that's not pop music, that's an album-oriented track. Look, that's 5 different movements of one composition. It Better End Soon, first movement. It Better End Soon, second movement with the flute solo. It Better End Soon, third movement with the guitar solo. It Better End Soon, fourth movement, preach. It Better End Soon, fifth movement. So, you know, I have to admit, I admire it from afar, because I don't think when I had this album, I was always putting on the songs I knew, and I don't think I ever got around to listening to that too much. That was one issue with vinyl. Side 5, Introduction, Mother, Lowdown. Side 6, Flight 602, Motorboat to Mars. There's Free. I knew Free. That's a good one. Then we get to the last one. So we got side 7, Happy 'Cause I'm Going. Ballet for a Girl in Buchanan. What a beautiful song. Very kind of a just a really thoughtful song. Make Me Smile. Oh, children play in the park. They don't know. That's great. And you get a live version of it on here. Down there you got Color My World. That's great. Color My World is the Freebird of wedding music in the 70s, along with perhaps Time in a Bottle and Annie's song by John Denver, Color My World. And I played it at numerous weddings, sometimes even with the flute, which was always extra nice. Then at the end, you got a song for Richard and his friends. And then I'm not sure what that song's about. I was thinking they had some songs that were kind of political, like they had one in that Chicago one. They have the Democratic Convention in 1968. The whole world's watching. But anyway, then you get to 25 or 6 to 4. What a great song, and what a showcase for Terry Kath. You know, I played that song a lot, actually. I played it on tenor sax all through junior high and high school for basketball in the pep band. Loved it. I wish I could still play tenor sax. I feel like I could play it, but my lip would be just a joke. And then in college, I was in a really good jazz band. Our college had a really good jazz band in the music department. And when I was a sophomore, the guy playing the guitar left, so I moved from baritone sax to the guitar. So I got to play 25 or 6 to 4 in a really, good college jazz band. I mean, we had great players in there, drums and great horn sections. And then I'm a man, yes I am. A little bit of manhood there, 1970s style. Love of a woman, I'm a man. That's a great song. Rocks too, kicks butt. Kind of a R&B type song, I would say, maybe. Well, anyway, just a great album. And if you're interested in Chicago and like their earlier albums, you might find this a good option. I'm not sure how they even package it anymore. It's been so many years, so there's so many other ways to access their music. But this was definitely a great album to have in the days of vinyl. Because you got all those songs. It was expensive. I remember when I bought it when I was a kid. It took some it took some gumption, because I think you could buy about 3 regular albums for the cost of this thing, if not 4. But what a great album! And you got that nice book of photographs. Just a testimony to back in the heyday of vinyl, how these vinyl albums were really worth having, and they were kind of keepsakes. The music, I feel like, would be on YouTube in 2 seconds. I guarantee it is. I didn't even check, but I just know it is. But meanwhile, that vinyl and that book of photographs is really worth keeping. Chicago 4, great album. Thanks. God bless.